my relationship with David. 25 years ago, we met one another. I was working in a very high-level administrative job, getting up at 4 in the morning and driving down to San Jose. I knew that if I were going to survive the next 20 years, I needed to make a change.
I have an artistic background and worked in journalism for a while and never saw myself in any kind of sales capacity. We had bought our first home in Alameda at that point, and our agent had been somebody who had been really impactful in our lives at that moment. And I thought, I think I could do this for a little while I figure out what else I want to do with my life.
David was doing really well in real estate. Our partnership was great. We were having a wonderful time parenting, and we thought, let's just put all of our eggs in one basket. We started to build a team very slowly in terms of being able to kind of create a complete, encompassing experience for our clients. You know, when I go into our weekly meetings on Tuesdays, I look around the room and I'm just absolutely dazzled by this group of people I get to work with.
I was an actor in New York City with David. David made his way west to be with Andrew. When their business started growing, they realized they were going to need some help and called their old friend.
It's really hard to find people. And going to these friends, you don't have to teach the hardest thing is to teach, which is who we are and what we share in terms of our worldview. If you go back and look at the backgrounds of everyone, their backgrounds are so rich and interesting. People who've had their own businesses or been in marketing, or we have an Olympian, or I performed on Broadway in my youth. Andrew danced with American Ballet Theater and worked at Studio 54. Like, these life experiences are just really, really rich.
I am an Olympian with the United States rowing team, and that's obviously a pretty strong team sport. There's a real dynamic that has to be sort of in flow and congruent with one another.
I feel very fortunate to be a member of this team. I'm a fourth-generation Californian. I was born in San Francisco. My parents lived in Sausalito. My father's love for architecture really resonated with me.
Andrew and I were licensed at the same time. And I've always just felt such a camaraderie with them.
I feel right now it's just the best team out there. It's really a chosen family, which is what we all always say, but it's really true. I mean, they say, right, who you work with is 95% of whether you're happy in your job.
People who write about us talk about the care, the heart that was brought to the center of the experience.
There was a time when our team was named Andrew and David. We're at the point now where consumers who interact with the Gunderman Group don't necessarily need to ever know Andrew or David. They are so excited to be working with these other agents and these other people.
We love the people we work with, both as colleagues and clients. We are there for one another, we learn from one another, we're awake at the wheel and engaged with one another.
We represent people and not price points.
We sell very expensive homes in prestigious areas throughout the East Bay. But also, personally, I just did a veterans loan, a VA loan, for a veteran that gladly, gratefully qualified for a one-bedroom condo. I've gone to probate court for a single mom, and she won the house, and the judge, everybody was crying. It was so great.
I think my background from growing up in Oakland gives me an advantage for my buyers, especially the ones that really want to stay in Oakland and are getting pushed out, but also for my commercial buyers, which are looking for particular zoning designations that will allow them to build multifamily properties or affordable housing. I was a city planner with the City of Oakland for about 15 years. So when I do have a commercial buyer, I go into the zoning analysis for each property and really bring out the details so that the buyer knows what they're getting into.
I think my favorite part of the East Bay in particular is that it's a little more quiet than a city, but it's still alive and it's got a lot of dynamic stuff happening. And so it's a really sweet spot.
It's a sort of earthier side of culture that I really love. And I think one of the things about California too is it's the last frontier. You create your life from scratch here. You're not fitting into something predetermined, and that's just wonderful.
You know, you can have a piece of music, its notes, on a piece of paper. And, anybody can learn to play the notes, but very few people can play with feeling, can interpret it in their own way. And that's what I love about our team. They know how to communicate and engage in ways that are utterly authentic. And to me, ultimately, that's the secret sauce and the joy of the Gunderman Group.